Okay, so this is a 60% design meeting for site 132 MW4, which is our middle school that's going to be built to relieve Bridgewater Middle. Hopefully you've been able to find your Q&A. If you have technical problems, you can chat to me directly. When you go into the Q&A, if you could please ask questions to all panelists, and then we'll take questions and answers at the end. This presentation is already posted at facilities.ocps.net. I believe it's also on Board Member Gould's page already. We have already about 30 people on, but I will be sending out a version of this recording. So for people who tried to come in to the last meeting and we had technical difficulties, they will still receive a copy of the meeting. And you do have the opportunity to zoom in on any screen by going over to the left side of your screen and clicking on the little plus sign toward the middle. So if something's too small, you can take a look at that. And we are, again, recording this. So if at this point, I'd like to pass things over to Board Member Gould for welcome.
Well, I just want to welcome everyone, and hopefully we do not have the technical challenges that we had last week. I am looking forward to having you see this wonderful new middle school. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back to staff for introductions of the team that is putting this school together, so that we can get right into the presentation and your questions.
Okay, thank you. And I did actually get a little bit of news just about 2 minutes ago that WebEx did have an issue the day we had the problem. It was not just us. But if we are to have any sort of an audio problem, I am going to turn off the video for all of the panelists because I was told that that might help. So just as an FYI. So in addition to Board Member Gould, who represents this area, we have Executive Area Director Margaret Talbert Irving on the call. So thank you for coming on. Principal Andrew Jackson from Bridgewater is here. Thank you. Normally this meeting would have been held at Bridgewater. The architect for this project is Hunt and Brady. We have 2 representatives from Hunt and Brady today. We have Maurizio Masso and Susan Pendergraft. Rick Baldacchi is here. He's the civil engineer for this project, and is also our resident traffic expert. He's with AvCon. The construction manager that's going to be building this school is Wellbro, and Jeff Carter is here from Wellbro. From our design team, Michael Gallo is here. I saw that we had Kathy Sullivan come on from the planning side. We have Rory Salenbean, who's the Senior Facilities Executive Director, on the call. From Facilities Planning, we have Stephen Thorpe. An important person for you to know is Maher Tatila. He is the project manager for this project. And so what that means is he's the go-between between OCPS and the architect and the construction manager. So he kind of connects all of those people. From our partners with Orange County, Christina Pichardo Cruz is on. I believe Diana Almodovar was going to try to make it also, so I just wanted to make sure I mentioned her name. And from transportation, we have Adam Zubritsky, and I think we might, who's waving, and we might have a representative from OCPS Police come on, and I believe we have someone coming on from Fire, Health, and Safety also. If you don't mind advancing the slide, please, Maurizio. So I did want to bring this slide to you. This came from our student enrollment department. They're the ones that handle zoning, because I know everybody wants to know what the zone will look like for this school. So the key part that you're going to be watching out for is going to happen in spring of 2021. That's when there will be community meetings about this. You'll be able to send in comments. There will be draft maps that you can look at and comment on. This is a totally public process, so we do not come in and tell you what the zone is. That's something that we definitely want public participation in. So we won't be able to tell you what the zone is. I did want to share that the zoning is being done with the understanding that another middle school, Site 65, is going to be opening in the area a year later. And so the zoning is going to be designed in a way so that students aren't going to be rezoned to this school and then 65 a year later, because I know someone wanted to know about that. So Maurizio, I'm going to hand this back over to you for the presentation.
Great. So just a couple of quick checks. Video check, audio check, and laser pointer check. All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. This is a very exciting project, and I'm looking forward to kind of walk you through all of the progress that we've done so far. First of all, I'd like to give you the bearings of where the school is located. You can see the school site right here. Just as a reference, you can see State Road 429 traveling north-south in this area. Neighboring schools include Bridgewater, Independence Elementary School. This is the Hamlin Town Center nearby as well. We're going to zoom in a little bit more. You can see the site of the middle school just west of Avalon Road. And there will be two roads, two brand new roads that will provide access to the site. They're unnamed right now. Their names are Street A and Street B. Street A runs east and west, and Street B is a spur that will run to the north. And we'll explain in a minute how we're going to connect to those roads. Here we're getting a little closer view. You can see Avalon Road as a reference. The main access road is Street A. Notice that in this case, it's a unique condition. We have an elementary school next to the middle school. The middle school is going to occupy the eastern side of the site. The elementary school is going to be on the western side. And there's some great advantages for having the two schools together. Just a few things about the school. It is going to provide you with the latest technology for your children. The circulation of the site has been carefully planned, as we'll review in a few minutes. It has all the safety features that state-of-the-art schools have these days. And generally speaking, is going to be a great asset for this growing community that you live in. All right, so the site here illustrates the middle school in red. This is the building itself. The parking just to the south. Notice that there are several points of access. There's an easternmost access point. There's sort of a middle point, and there's a western access point. The parking allocated for the middle school is grayed out here, but it's also going to be connected to the parking as an extension for the elementary school, which gives some great benefits in terms of flexibility. Street B, the one that comes off of the main road, will take buses and service vehicles to the north side, so they're completely separated from parent drop-off and pickup, and they're going to loop around on the north side for both the elementary school and the middle school, and exit on the same road. Notice we are locating all of the athletic fields, track and field, softball, tennis courts, basketball on the eastern side. There will be, if necessary, future space for portables on the north side. And I'm going to advance to this slide here, which illustrates our thinking in terms of circulation for cars in and out. The blue lines represent cars coming into the site, and in a serpentine fashion, they can stack and finally drop off under the covered drop-off that connects to both the main entrance as well as the entrance to the gym. Exiting after parents drop off or pick up, you follow the purple line out this way into the main street. Buses will follow the north access point here. The orange line means buses coming in. There's space for about 25 buses to stack, and then they can exit following the blue line. In terms of numbers, we have enough stacking for 291 cars. That's quite substantial. And we have enough parking for 170 cars on the middle school site. And of course, by combining it with the elementary school, that could be further increased. All right, let's look at how the students will get to the site. Anyone coming in from the west side, which is where most of the residential areas are right now, they would cross the secondary street and then go on the school side of the circulation area. Bikes and pedestrians will follow this red line on the north side of the parking areas. They wouldn't cross any streets within the site, and then they can park their bikes in the blue rectangle right here, and then they can proceed over to the main entrance, which is right where I'm pointing. If you're coming in from the west, is the opposite. You follow the sidewalk on the north side of the road, then you enter the site, and you can park your bike right there on the other bike parking area. There's enough bike parking spaces for 172 bikes, and that could also be increased if need to in the future by another 100 plus bikes. Let's now take a little closer look at the building itself. We've located all of the more public functions on the south side, closer to parking. So you have cafeteria and kitchen over here on the southwest side, administration area in the middle to the west, media center in the middle to the east, and then the gymnasium over on this far end. The more academic functions, such as classrooms, laboratories, music, they're all located on the north side. There's a very wide concourse, we call it, that connects all of these different components of the school. And after school starts, all of this space is locked to provide maximum security for students. If anyone needs to come to the school after school starts, they would have to be buzzed in through this door right here in the administration area. That way we can prevent any kind of intrusion in the school during school hours. So that's sort of an overall view of the ground floor. Let's go to the second floor. These are the two classroom wings. There are 2 stories, and as you can see, we call them fingers, and the reason for that is we want to maximize the daylight coming into the classrooms. But 90% of our academic spaces have natural light, and that's to enhance teaching. In addition to classrooms and labs, we have technology resource centers. And these are open classrooms to promote collaborative pedagogy, which is part of the 21st century teaching that the school will also provide. Let's now look at some elevations. The top elevation is looking from the south towards north. In other words, from the parking area looking at the school. The centerpiece is the entrance with a tall canopy. You have the administration area just immediately to the left, the media center immediately to the right, the gymnasium over in this area, and the cafeteria over on the other end. Notice this long linear canopy, which provides cover in inclement weather to students that are being picked up or dropped off. The north elevation, which is basically the rear, the back of the school, has the two classroom wings side by side here with a courtyard in the middle. The technology resource centers are located where the square windows are here and here, looking out towards the north with really nice north light. The gym is going to be located here on the left with the lockers connected to all of the fields, the athletic fields on the east side of the property. And the opposite side is the cafeteria and the bus loop. Let's look at the building from the sides. East elevation, it's on the top. Here you see the gymnasium in the foreground, and beyond you see the classrooms. Notice all of the glazing, the glass windows on each one of the classrooms. In the opposite elevation is the west elevation, where you see the bus loop drop off, again with a covered canopy to gain access into that main concourse that I was referring to earlier, and the cafeteria beyond. Now let's switch to some more exciting 3D images, some renderings. This is what you would see from the air. Gives you a kind of a nice overall view of the school. The main road, this is the easternmost access point leading into the parking area. This is kind of the middle access, and there'll be another one here to the west. This is the elementary school site. We're sharing the bus loop. This shows how the buses will circulate around, and it's going to be jointly used by the elementary school and the middle school. So these are all the components: administration, media center, the gym, cafeteria, the two-story wings for classrooms and labs, and this is the music wing. Over beyond the school, you see the large track and play field, athletic fields. There's a baseball field as well with tennis and basketball courts in this location, and sort of nestled between the courts and the building could be the site for future portables if need to. Here, let's take a look at more of an eye-level view, looking at the main entrance with the sort of the larger canopy to very clearly show where the main entrance is, and kind of lower canopies at the drop-off areas. This is the administration area here, the media center, and beyond you see the classroom wings. And this is even a closer look at what you see sort of approaching the school towards the main entrance. Once you're in the main entrance, you'll be in the space that is rendered like this one here. You see the main entrance here, entrance to administration off of that opening right there, the door, and this will lead you into that main concourse that I was referring to, that connects all of the components and keeps all of the students safe within the school itself. Now I'm going to hand it over to Susan, and she'll take you through some of the different parts of the school.
All right, so this is the interior of the classroom. You can see it's a large classroom. Right now the focal point is centered on the monitor, and marker board is the teaching wall, but the furniture can be rearranged into a number of different scenarios so that students can choose different modes of learning, group projects, that sort of thing. There's the room to do that, and the room to separate if needed. Next slide. This is showing the technology resource centers that Mauricio was talking about. These are located at the end of the classroom wings. You can see that we've got accent walls and different ways of identifying the space itself, but otherwise it's very open, and all of the classrooms have opportunity to use this space. It's got the latest technology, and again, very flexible rearrangement is possible. Next slide. Further views of the technology resource centers that we have built. You can see there's a variety of different ways that they can be arranged for different types of learning. This space, it won't be assigned to a teacher immediately. It's really available for use by all teachers for group projects and collaborative 21st century learning. This is the view of the music suite room. We've got 3 different large rooms that serve orchestra, vocal, and band. You can see we've got articulation on the wall, acoustical panels that really enhance the quality of the sound, but they're also, the spaces are arranged so that the transmission of the sound does not go from one space to the other. We also have 2 practice labs so that the students can individually hone the skills of their instruments. And this wing is entirely separated from the rest of the school, so there should not be any sound transmission through that space to other classrooms. This is the media center. You can see that there's alternative ways of accessing media. There's stacks for books, for individual looking at seating arrangements. There are also spaces for classrooms to utilize the space, even separated classrooms that allow for group projects. We also have a state-of-the-art CCTV studio, which allows students to learn production techniques and broadcast to the school. This is the multi-purpose dining room. You can see that it's set up for dining, and this location, large cafeteria space. The serving area has multiple arrangements, different options for students, as well as an exterior dining space and a teacher's dining space as well. The furniture, the tables and chairs can be rearranged so that it also doubles as a performance space. You can see the stage here. Very large area that can support a large performance space for the school. Typical science lab. You can see the utilities and equipment will be placed along the exterior of the room. The interior of the room has the furniture, again, flexible and adaptable, as well as a teacher demonstration table at the front of the classroom, where experiments can be done and shown, and as well as a prep space to support their learning and storage of equipment and materials. This is the administration, the front of the school. As you see it, as you enter the school, to the left is the administration wing. You would enter through this side door. You have access as a visitor to the clinic, controlled by the reception area. Beyond that are administrative offices and conference spaces. And you can see in the small picture below, really the view that was shown in a rendering earlier, but the intersection of the corridors, there's a large expanse of sight, views from all directions to see and monitor students or any other activity that needs to be monitored. The gymnasium, really large space for as many as 1,000 spectators. It can accommodate basketball courts as well as volleyball courts. We have showers and locker rooms in the rear, as well as multi-purpose space and the exterior amenities that you saw from the site plan. The space can also be used as a hurricane shelter should that be needed. And then we wanted to talk about the sustainable design features that we've implemented into the space. We have concentrated on energy efficiency with our chillers and HVAC equipment. To enhance that, we have high efficiency equipment, Energy Star equipment. We have high performance glazing and systems that contribute, as well as the automated building control system, which contribute to the energy efficiency. We have water saving toilets and faucets and fixtures, as well as implementing native and low water use plants to help with water savings. And we've also mentioned before that we have daylighting provided to 90% of the classrooms that the students utilize. The science classrooms are embedded in the centers, but all other classrooms have natural light. Next slide. So these are the previous prototypes that have been built, Timber Springs Middle School as well as Carver Middle School. You can see very similar, although we have altered some of the exterior colors and patterns that give each school an individual appearance. This is the schedule. You can see that we're almost complete with design, at which point Wellbro Construction will start to bid the project from our final documents. During that same time, we will be we will be working with the building officials to get a building permit. And then in this coming winter, the beginning of the year, 2021, we will start construction, Wellbro will, and continue through 2021 through the summer of 2022, opening for fall semester 2022.
Okay, so that ends the presentation. Mauricio, if you could move it up one slide. For anyone who came on late, I wanted you to be able to see this. This is how you can ask questions. A couple questions did come in during the meeting, so we can certainly start with those. There was a question about the portables. So actually, let me just give everyone a moment to finish reading this slide. And then Mauricio, if you could jump to the site plan. We got a question about the portables. There's a spot where it says future portables on the site plan, and that's if they're needed. And the elementary school site, this is actually the perfect slide because you can see the elementary school, it was blank on the later slide because there will actually be a completely separate design for the elementary school, and it'll have spots for potential portables on its side as well. Pam, did you want to add anything else to that?
No, I think you covered it, but I had a question on this and I just don't remember from my briefings. When the middle school is created, will the elementary school parking lot be completed for that extra bus loop, or will that be added as the elementary school goes in? And sorry, I don't remember that in my briefings.
Jeff, they're going to be under construction at the same time. Is that correct? You're on mute, Jeff. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
That is correct. They're both open, scheduled to open in time.
I'm having trouble hearing you, Jeff. Can you get a little closer to your mic?
Can you hear me?
Better.
Better.
All right. That's correct. The middle school starts February of 2021. The elementary, there's about a 4-month lag before the elementary starts. So they are scheduled to be complete at the same time. So that portion that you don't see in gray currently will be developed with the elementary school itself, but all completed at the same time and ready for you.
Okay. I thought that was the case, but I wanted to clarify it because I think it's important. I love that feature of this, that, you know, with the staggered start times, we have that ability, and then also for programming, and when we can all gather back together, there will be more parking for each school when they have special program nights. That's pretty neat. Thank you.
Okay, and just to make sure that everybody heard that, the elementary school and middle school will both open in fall 2022, so they'll actually open together, but the construction of the elementary school starts a little bit later because it doesn't take as long to build an elementary school. Okay, another question for the architects. Mauricio, I think we're going to need the floor plans for this one. Does the building include a stage for performances in the music building? So could you advance to the section of the floor plan that, there we go. Susan or Mauricio, could you address where the stage is versus music?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, great. Yes, so as Susan mentioned, there's several practice classrooms, labs in the music wing, and those are actually quite generous in square footage in area. But they're mainly intended for practice. The performance space is actually part of the cafeteria where Susan pointed out to a stage. And that could be set up as in a kind of a theater mode with the stage over in this location right here.
I would like to add that we did purposefully locate the music wing adjacent to the rear of the stage so that as they're preparing for a performance, they can really kind of stage themselves from their classrooms out into the corridor and then enter the back of the stage that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks for adding that, Susan. There's a question about what residential areas will be zoned for this new middle school and elementary school. Okay, so the student enrollment department manages that process, and the community meetings on the zoning will begin this spring. That's when there will be some proposed maps and there will be community meetings, and you can give feedback either at the meeting or through email. That's not something that OCPS just puts out, something that's part of a community process involving feedback before that's determined.
So that's spring of 21, just to clarify, that's the upcoming spring. And we want to have the best data for the residents who are moving in and the generational rate changes closer to the time when we're planning that zoning. So that's why it'll be, you know, about 8 months from now before we get to that.
Right, and like Pam was saying, the design and construction process, there's like it's a multi-year process, and the zoning comes later toward the end of that process. Same thing with the principal naming, that comes later. We've got some traffic-related questions, and we do have Rick Baldacchia on the call, but we also have Christina Pichardo-Cruz from the county with us. So there's 2 questions. Let me read them both out. Has a signal warrant analysis been conducted for Avalon/Street A? And then the second question is, the proposed internal traffic circulation may conflict with the middle driveway access. How is traffic going to be restricted, prevented from undesirable movement? So Rick, if you could answer the pieces you could answer, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
We can hear you.
We, as OCPS, have not done a signal warrant analysis on Avalon and Street A. I don't know if the developer who is designing and building the roadway has done that or has been required to do that by Orange County. Maybe the county can speak to that when I'm done. The proposed The idea of these driveways was to give the most amount of flexibility. So the idea that, that this would be the one of the options that will be utilized for maximum stacking for the middle school pickup and drop off, which again would be a different time than the elementary school. So that the middle driveway may not be used in this configuration of stacking. The middle driveway has been provided more for the elementary school to enter. So the elementary school, which has a shorter stacking queue, could enter and then kind of follow the same requirements as or the same tunnel as the middle school. And in that scenario, the eastern driveway would not be necessarily in use and would be available for visitors coming and going.
And I'd like to add a little bit to that. So our principals who work together in kind of co-sites like this often coordinate how traffic patterns and flow will happen in addition to just, drop off and pick up as their operations come online. So we've got multiple sites where we have schools co-located and share some common driveway space or access points, or they decide later that they want to change that pattern because it really works better for the school.
Okay, and we do have Christina Pichardo-Cruz from the county on the line. Christina, is there anything you can add to the question about Avalon and Suday? Christina, we're not hearing you, so if you don't have audio, if you could just send me your answer in the chat and I'll read it out loud. That would be a good workaround. Okay, we got a question that I don't think everyone can see because it came in on the chat. It says, I saw on the OCPS website that there's a new middle school, Site 65, and that is correct, close to Water Springs Elementary. Is Site 132 going to be built before that because there are already rezoning map options for that other middle school? Yes, this middle school is opening a year before that middle school. And yes, their zoning process started earlier. Pam, do you remember why? I remember having this conversation with Carol, that there was some specific reason for it, but I don't remember.
It's based on the feeder patterns, and because where Bridgewater sits is closest to all the new development, we will be completing that cohort of that school a year in advance, utilizing some of the high school site in order to accommodate that new school's first year of operation, which will help to relieve Bridgewater, bring that cohort together with their new principal, get their identity going, and then they'll move into their new school building the next year. But they'll be essentially a school together a year in advance, and hopefully that will eliminate some of the double dipping of moving kids multiple times in those pivot areas, because that's a hardship on those families that unfortunately live, kind of right there in the middle of two school zones and often have been changing. And we're trying to be more adaptive to it, least impact our families and our students and have the most continuity. And that's something that parents have been asking for. And because of the high school, this one time we have that flexibility.
Okay, yeah, so it's not that you're being rezoned late. You're not. They just got rezoned exceptionally early. That's the one that was unusual. And you guys are actually further along in the design process. So they're you're further behind. Let's see if, someone asked where Water Springs Elementary is. I always describe it to, it's, as Pam says, it's down. I describe it to people who don't know the area as you drive through Disney and keep going. It's you actually drive through the Disney gates is one of the main ways to get there, and then you keep going. So it's southwest, Horizon West.
I can add on that too, Lauren. It's about 3.5 miles south of this intersection of Street A and Story Grove area.
Thank you. That's a great answer.
And for those who know where the new hospital is, the Orlando Health Hospital, it's a little southeast of that.
Thank you. Much better answers than mine. That's actually the last question that we have. So if you've got a burning question, please go ahead and put that into the Q&A now so that we don't miss it. But if you did want to follow up with us after the meeting, or if you just watched this and you weren't able to be here and you're watching this and listening to it later, you can certainly send questions to myself. And Pam, is it okay if I give your email out too? Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to chime in there.
Yeah, so my email is Lauren, Lauren, .Roth, ROTH, @ocps.net. And Pam's is Pamela, PAMELA .Gould, GOULD, @ocps.net. And I'm going to type those into the chat also. Pam, if we don't get any more questions in here, do you want to give some closing remarks, and that maybe gives people a few more minutes?
So when would the next community meeting be on this site, just so that families are kind of aware how, you know, their updates happen with the building? What's that estimated time in that project timeline?
Yes, thank you. Meher, do you have an estimate of when we'll hit 100% design? You'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, let me quickly check the schedule. The phase 3, which is the 100%, it will be around the end of August.
Okay. So August of 21.
No, August of 20, the 100% design will be.
Oh, design. Yeah.
Yeah, design.
Sorry. Right. Yeah. And then we'll go into the construction timeline. Okay.
Yeah, the construction is in February of 21.
Okay.
So we'll meet between November.
That you should watch for the 100% design, and then in February we'll start the. It'll start with the construction meetings.
Correct.
That are also public meetings for those who might be new to this process.
And between them, there will be the bidding process. So that's the part in between.
Right. So,
sorry, I wanted to go back to the question on the warrant for the light. I know that I've had multiple conversations with Commissioner Vanderlei about that. So we will get an update from the county on the status of that light.
Okay, and we have had a few more questions come in.
Right.
I make just one clarification on the community meetings. The 100% design and the construction meeting are actually a combined meeting. They're tentatively earmarked for January, so that's when we would expect another meeting as we get much closer to construction.
Okay.
So
that'll be a little more efficient.
Right. Yeah, we've got the 100% design construction kickoff meeting. Sounds like we're looking at January for that. And then when we're at 40% through construction, we'll come back for another meeting where you can see interior pictures, and it's really cool. There's a question that I can't answer. I don't know if Pam, you would know or not. It's a question, is there a plan on rezoning Keene's Crossing? I'm trying to think which school is affecting, Lori, or does someone know if 89 believes Keene's Crossing?
Sorry, that would be for the elementary, and I think we need to look at those maps and the densities. Is it possible? Yes, but we have a couple more elementary schools coming in, so we just have to see how it all ends up fleshing out, because Keene's Crossing may be done by then.
And so I know we have told you that there's an elementary school coming on the same site, but they're going to have a completely separate process of community meetings from this one. So
Correct.
when the design starts for that elementary school, we will be coming back to the community, and many of you will receive the notification again because you live, near that school, And so we'll have more information when we get a little closer. Okay, there's a question, is this school going to be in Waterley? I don't know where the Waterley boundary lines are.
I think this is in the next village, I believe. Maybe some of our design folks can answer that, but I think this was, I don't know if this is an add-on to the Waterley Village. I think this is a new village.
Is it in Hamlin?
Technically, I don't know that Hamlin goes that far.
Rick, was that you trying to chime in?
No, this is just southwest of Hamlin.
Just southwest of Hamlin, yeah.
It's a couple miles north of where Waterley is. Not in Waterley.
So it's not within Waterley then?
I think this is a new development that's in the Horizon West footprint for one of the villages. We'll have to, we could probably tell on the docs which development it is, if it's finalized its name.
I think Waterley might be closer to 65, but I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
Rory, I think this one actually might be you. Someone asked if we've considered putting solar panels. And could you kind of fill us in?
This is one of my favorite topics.
So the district has not yet decided to move forward with solar. We're currently evaluating our possible first installation for a technical school that actually has a curriculum tie-in to that. But for our elementary and middle schools, we're continuing to build our current prototype that does not include a solar energy component.
That is in flux, and the board had expressed interest, but now, especially in the current economic climate, we have to make sure that it doesn't cost more and it's going to give us everything on the return that we need. That's the honest truth of it right now. But this is something the current board and even prior to this board that I've had a strong interest in, especially on our side of town. And I hope to be able to tie it into curriculum at some of the other levels of grades or tie it back to some other projects at some point.
Okay, there's a question on whether, two related questions. One was asking when the school is opening. The plan is to open it in fall of 2022. And there's a separate question on whether that could change in either direction. Excuse me. And I can say it couldn't be moved up for sure because we have to complete design and then we're jumping straight into construction. So there's no way it could open a year earlier. And this is the plan that the board has adopted. I understand that there are concerns about what our 10-year plan is going to look like down the line, but the sooner schools are on the calendar, the more that's staying set. Pam, did you want to add to that?
So I've repeatedly asked this question about every 30 days, and the funds are still encumbered for this project, and it is moving forward as scheduled.
Okay, and we did have someone chime in who knew the layout of Horizon West better than I did.
Okay.
So this is within, that this is within the town center village, not Waterley.
Yeah, Waterley's more east.
Okay. All right. Well, there aren't. Oh wait, now we've got another comment from the same gentleman. The developer is also designing a traffic signal for Avalon and A.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, with that, we don't have any other questions at this point. I am going to check and see if anything else. Okay, yep. Someone commented back. Waterley is where Water Springs is. That's where Site 65. Yeah, that's the other middle school. That's not this one. Okay, and okay. Thank you. Just got one more bit of information that the elementary school that is going next to the middle school has, as Pam was saying, has the potential to relieve several elementary schools, and the ones that it's considered like it might relieve is Whispering Oaks, Water Spring, and Keens Crossing.
Yeah, those would be the closest to it. That's why. but we really got to see where those neighborhoods lay out. I have done enough school openings in Horizon West to know the maps don't always fall exactly the way that we think they're going to, even 12 months later.
Right. Yeah. So, we'll have to see when we get to the rezoning, but, it's definitely within the realm of possibility. Okay. I don't have any other questions. Are there any questions that I missed? Panelists, is there anything that you saw that I didn't read? Okay. Pam, before I close out, is there anything else you would like to say?
Sure. So please let your friends and neighbors know that this video will be available so that they can also see the school. And again, don't hesitate to reach out via email to my office to answer any questions that we didn't get answered today. But, in this new dynamic, I want to make sure as many people learn about this as possible and are kept in the know. So thank you for attending today, and I'll look forward to hopefully seeing you all face-to-face sometime soon.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Thank you, panelists.